Chris Mannix for the crossover alongside Rohan Nadkarni and Howard Beck. Guys, the NBA trade deadline is on Thursday, and I expect a lot of chatter about some fringy types of moves over the next couple of days. Rohan, what team or player are you watching as we head into Thursday?
Chris, I got my eye on Kyle Lowry. Now, I know you mentioned fringy type moves, but I do think Lowry is the kind of player who can make a difference depending on where he lands up. Now, he's been rumored to be going to the Sixers for a long time. Over the weekend, the Ringer reported Miami's pursuing him harder than any other team. I think it's kind of an interesting arms race to see who gets Lowry in the East. If he goes to Philadelphia, I think that makes them the most legitimate contender when it comes down to them and the Nets coming out of the East. If he goes to Miami, does it bring Miami into that tier? I'm not sure. Does it just end up weakening Philadelphia? I think he's going to be a really interesting chess piece depending on where he ends up. Somebody's championship odds are going to take, I don't know, a serious swing, I think, depending on wherever Lowry goes.
Yeah, the team I'm looking at and the player I'm looking at is Harrison Barnes of the Sacramento Kings. The Kings are in a really interesting spot here. They've got a new front office. That front office, from everything I've been told, is fully empowered to do what they need to get this team back to the playoffs and end that playoff drought. Maybe not this year, although they are only 3.5 games out as we speak of the play-in bracket. So they could make it. Are they going to be sellers, buyers? And where does Harrison Barnes fit into this? Because he's a really interesting piece. He could certainly help the Boston Celtics, a team he's been tied to repeatedly. He could help the Denver Nuggets. He's an easy plug-and-play kind of player as like your third, fourth best player who can handle a little, score a little, certainly a versatile defensive piece. And the Kings, I think, are going to be listening to all offers on anybody not named Fox or Halliburton. But which way they decide to go over the next couple of days is going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm keeping my eye on John Collins with Atlanta. It's been well known over the last couple of months that Collins is available from the Hawks. They've certainly turned their season around, I should say, over the last couple of weeks with the way they played under Nate McMillan. But I think Collins is still available. The asking price is what the teams I've talked to has been a real holdup. The Hawks are looking for a young player and a high draft pick in exchange. Collins, who is a young player himself, just in his early 20s, who is someone who can regularly give you a double-double on most nights. So I think it'll be interesting to see if somebody comes in and pays the price to extract John Collins from Atlanta. For a while, I thought it might be the Charlotte Hornets, who have a desperate need for size in their front court. But the LaMelo Ball injury could shake things up for Charlotte. That could turn them into sellers as opposed to buyers. Boston's had some interest in John Collins as well, but I don't know if they have the capital that they want to give back in exchange for the Atlanta Hawks big man. That's kind of the most significant player. I know Kyle Lowry's certainly out there as a difference maker, but John Collins is a double-double type of machine that I think could make a big impact on teams. Rowan, I just want to turn to you for a second because Miami is involved in a lot of trade chatter right now. Does that surprise you at all, given that the Heat are the defending conference finalists with a really solid, deep roster?
It doesn't surprise me, Chris, only because, back before the regular season even started, I think Eric Spoelstra said in one of his early press conferences that they understand that they can't waste what Jimmy Butler is doing. And I think the way he's played, especially of late, ever since he came back from his COVID protocol, he's been playing the best basketball of his career. I think the Heat recognize they don't know how many more years Jimmy's going to be at this level. And their supporting cast has been up and down this whole year. I mean, Duncan Robinson's not been the same shooter he was last season. Tyler Hero hasn't been the same player. I think Pat Riley's famously impatient. So it makes sense to me that when they have a guy like Jimmy playing the way he is, why they feel the need to upgrade around him.
I wonder if the pressure got to Duncan Robinson. Everybody, myself included, was talking about how he could be $100 million man this coming offseason because shooting is at such a premium. But he has not, you're right, been the same player so far. Miami, though, certainly a team to watch over the next couple of days. For more, check us out over at SI.com.